circle, square, and triangle, and then click on polls. Ah, that's exciting. So someone's never heard of it. Hopefully you will learn lots today and pretty regularly. Hopefully you learn something new. If not, Dr. Chan is hosting 201 on Thursday. That might be a good session for you. Bye, Fernando. Nice of you to join us. Welcome. Happy to see you here. Oh, good. 3 people never heard of it. Woohoo. Okay, you are in the right place. We're going to start from very scratch. Very first thing. Where do you go? How do you get signed in? And then go from there. So just a side note, the session is going to be recorded, and we're going to pass the recording over to Jenna CTE so you guys can have access to this after today in case you want to come back and revisit. Okay, so what we're hoping to cover today is really just learn how to use Flipgrid and then really look at how you can kind of shift away from a teacher-centered approach in your classroom to a more student-centered approach. And we'll review these before we wrap up today. So hopefully you'll see that we hit that. I'm not sure if you guys are elementary or secondary. No CTE. Let me back up. I think CTE is mostly secondary, but I know this was open to a few elementary teachers as well, so I'm not sure. But I wanted to just show you guys that Flipgrid, hey Wes, nice to see you, that Flipgrid really can be used at all grade levels. So I pulled some elementary from social studies, science, ELA, and math, and then also some secondary standards, again, from history, science, ELA, and math. And I feel that these would all be a really good fit for using Flipgrid with your students. Okay, so because this is a district PD, I wanted to run through kind of how we tie into district priorities. So our mission here is to provide engaging, innovative, and equitable learning experiences. So one way to do that is by using Flipgrid, right? It gets your kids talking, it gets them using technology in a way that they're actually creating content. They're not just consuming it. If you look at the guide, something we've been asked to do is provide high quality teaching and learning environments for all students. Again, I feel that Flipgrid is one way to do that. And then we're asking our students to really think critically, communicate effectively, and solve problems. And then also provide rigorous and engaging instructional programs. So again, just kind of a way to get students talking and thinking and communicating, not only with you, but also with their peers. And then if we're looking at Danielson, I just pulled these 2 pieces. I'm sure there are many more, but creating an environment of respect and rapport. And if your kids are talking, they're going to automatically build those relationships and really engaging them in learning. What kid doesn't like to share and take selfies and add filters to their videos and all kinds of other crazy things you can do with Flipgrid. And then one last one with UDL. UDL really looks at different ways for students to access and engage with material. So this is a perfect way. If your kids don't like to write, maybe they can talk. If they don't want to talk in front of the class, maybe they can record and share that way. Some things that we're going to work on. So virtual PD best practices. If you've had a PD session with ILE, it's the same slide that we go over every time. And then we're going to look at getting started, how to integrate with Google Classroom, so maybe some recording expectations you share with your students, the student experience, how to create topics, and then finally leaving feedback for your students. So here's what I was talking about earlier. If you've been to one of our PDs, you'll see these same slides every time. So while we have been at this for a year now, it's still relatively new. Give yourself grace. If you would like to participate or sit back and watch or take notes, you're welcome to do any and all of those things. Dr. Chan is here to monitor our chat. So if you would like to ask questions in the chat, she's there to watch out for those questions. Since we're such a small group, please feel free to unmute and just call out questions. Please do not feel like you're going to cut me off. Just unmute and ask away. And then this is how our students have been learning for the past year. So we're just working on developing empathy for them and what they've been going through. All right, so getting into Flipgrid. Their mission is to empower learners of all ages to define their voices, share, and respect the diverse voices of others. And awesome educators like you make this happen. I thought I would share that just right off the bat so you guys could see kind of what Flipgrid is all about. why they're here, and then we're going to go ahead and figure out how to use this. So if you are following along, I'm going to do a lot of this live demo since you have these screenshots to fall back on later. So I'm going to exit and I'm going to go into my Blink account just so you can see from the very beginning how you might get started. So once you go to flipgrid.com, it should take you to a page that looks like this. If you click login and you have not logged in before, there is a one-time kind of educator login. So I'm going to do Google. And I'm going to pick my account. Oh, Lord, let's hope I remember the password for this account. Please let it be this. Let's say next. Okay, good. Okay, and it's going to automatically fill in some information for you because it's associated with your Google account. So my first name is now ILE, last name Teach1. Where am I located? My community. Let's see. You guys are secondary mostly, I think. So we'll go there. My birthday. And let's go. So it just wants to make sure you are over 13, I believe. All right, so once you're in, it's gonna walk you through this tutorial. And I have screenshots of all of this from the login procedure, what buttons you need to click all the way through. So if you get lost or you wanna come back to it, those screenshots are on the slideshow. But here's kind of how it starts. So it walks you through a tour. So the first thing is you're gonna create a group, and a group is kind of like your class. You're gonna add topics. Those are kind of like your individual assignments. And then you're gonna share the join code and your kids are gonna get access that way. So I'm gonna start by creating a group. So let's make a group. You're gonna set it up and you're gonna add participants. Okay, thank you. So group name, let's just call this one test for PD. It automatically gives me a join code, so I don't need to make that. And then it's gonna ask, how do I want my students to sign up? So you can do email, username, or classroom. I typically do email because it keeps it open so anyone in the district can join as long as they have your code. If you do classroom, I believe it's the same. Dr. Chan, by any chance, have you done it with classroom before or have you just done emails?
I have done it with classroom before.
And it'll upload your roster?
Yes, it will. It'll upload the roster and then you can push your assignments out through classroom and the students can access them there.
Awesome. And if you do it via email, you can do it through your classroom as well. You can push assignments out and whatnot. So I typically go this way. That way, if I have new students come in or they're not in my classroom for whatever reason, there's no hiccups. So I go at riversideunified.org. So that means anyone that's trying to log in with a riversideunified.org account is going to be able to access my group. And then it's going to let me allow some features or not allow. So do I want to get emails or have email sent to my students when I post new stuff? Yes or no? And then do I want this to be an active or a hidden group? I'm going to keep it active. I'm making it so people can join us. And then here you can customize. So do you want to have your own picture? Do you want to just pick one of theirs? Because this is a sample, I'm not going to go through and customize. So I'm just going to say create. And remember, this group is like the class. It's kind of the shell. This is not the individual assignment. So my group is ready. I can copy this link and I can send this via email. I can push it out through Classroom if I want. But for now, I'm actually just going to close this because I don't really need my kids to have access to the class right now. I want them to see an individual assignment. So I'm just going to close this. And now notice, here's my test for PD group. Here's my join code. If I want to add a co-pilot, which is kind of like a co-teacher, which you'll learn about on Thursday if you're going to Dr. Chan's 201 session, you can do that here. There's my pre-built Flipgrid topic. So it's kind of an introduction. I can add a new topic if I want. I can share the group. I can edit the group. So this is kind of your class homepage. And to make sure I'm staying on track, let me just go through here really quick. Make your group, add your details, share with students. Yep, okay, so we are all good. Let me go back over here for you. Okay, so this is the name of your class, and here's your individual assignments. Notice this one is pre-done. I didn't have to write any of this. This is a good way to start if your students have never used it because it's super low. I guess you could say low anxiety. You don't need to know anything to do this one. Hi, my name is, what's something we should know about you? So I'm actually gonna have you guys do this one in a little bit just to kind of practice. That way you get the student experience as well. So this is always the first one that's there. If you wanna delete it, you can get rid of it by going into the pencil and then deleting topic, just if you don't want that to be there. And then I believe that was my first break for questions. So it's kind of the basic setting up your account and getting your class started. Okay, so I will keep on moving. Okay, so we're gonna come back here for a minute. So some things you might wanna share with your students, especially if they're new to recording in class, are just some kind of basic understandings. So being mindful when others are recording. Make sure you give the site access to the microphone, and it will ask the first time around. Make sure they have access to the camera. And if your kids are on a Chromebook, it kind of looks like this. Do you want to allow Flipgrid to use the microphone and the camera? Allow. If for some reason they have blocked it previously and it's not working, you can have students click the little lock icon right there, and it should bring up this menu and they can allow it after the fact. So if you're running into problems with students, have them click the lock and see if they can turn it on that way. Make sure you keep the device steady. I don't know if you guys can see, but every time I touch my desk, my camera wiggles and it's probably distracting and I apologize. But a good thing for students, make sure you have it on a firm surface. Look into the lens. It's something I'm not doing and I really should be doing because I have two monitors. So I'm looking at my slides to see what you guys see, kind of walking you through it. Really, I should be looking right there, not at my screen, not at anything. So if you're recording a video for class, look at the camera, not your face on the screen. Stick to the script so you don't do a lot of well, like, awkward pause. And this is something I've included in the resources down below. So if you want to take a look at some options, you can. Make sure you speak slowly and clearly. Really, a mask on probably is not ideal, but unfortunately that's the world we live in. So it might make it a little more jumbly, I guess, fuzzy. Make sure you press the record button when you're ready. It doesn't auto start recording, so you have time, collect your thoughts. You know, don't click it till you're ready. Make sure you notice how much time is passing. So as the teacher, when you go in to create an assignment or a topic, you can set how long you want students to record for. Sometimes you want it super quick. I want 30 seconds or less, and kids are not used to that. So they'll talk and talk and talk, and it'll cut them off. So they have to go back and they have to start over. Wear headphones to hear what your video sounds like, right? You don't want the whole class to hear it and possibly get into their recording. And then make sure you listen closely to the finished recording. So Flipgrid does allow you to go back and re-record. If you don't like this one, that's okay, erase it and redo it. I think I did 3 different versions for the sample for this PD. I was like, oh no, that doesn't sound right. Oh, I paused too long. Okay, let me go back and redo it. As the teacher, you're never gonna know if your kids did 1 take or 10 takes. So, you know, listen closely. When you're done, wait a second before you click record to stop. You don't want it to cut off any of your words. And then remember, you can try again. So I know teachers who have printed these out and hung them in their classrooms. They've built these into their assignments. They could just kind of have these as reminders for their students when they're using Flipgrid. I just thought I'd share them, pass them along in case it's something you might want to use. Okay, so the experience as a teacher. We're going to look at how to build this, how to get it to your kids, and then you guys will have some practice time as students and then some build time again as teachers. Okay, so I'm gonna go, let's see, I'm gonna go back into the Flipgrid account and we'll just walk through this live again. So what that view was your kind of homepage. So if you click the Flipgrid icon, it takes you back out to your homepage and it'll list all of your groups right here in a row. So if you are a secondary teacher, maybe you have this set up as period 1, period 2, period 3, period 4, period 5. And then inside of those periods, you have your different assignments, you have your different topics, what have you. I've seen some people set this up as for like individual breakout groups. So you know for a project, this is your group. I'm gonna make a new group just for you guys. You can have all your topics in there. I've seen people do this as, this is my science group, this is my language arts group, this is my math group. Trying to think what other ways I've seen this broken down. I think that's pretty much it, by subject, by group of students, or by like actual classes. So when you find the one you want, you're gonna go in here, and when you're ready to make your first topic, not the pre-built one, but make your own, you're gonna click on create. You're gonna add a title. You'll find I get very creative when I'm in PDs. Okay, here's my instructions, my prompt, here's what I want my students to talk about. You can add in media. So if you think your students are gonna have a hard time understanding what you just wrote, you can actually record your own video for them to watch. You can upload from YouTube, you can add pictures and GIFs and emojis and all kinds of stuff. So if you think they're gonna have a hard time understanding what you just wrote as your prompt, please add in whatever kind of media you would like. How public do you want this to be? If you want people to join as a guest, so like let's say this is a homework assignment and you want parents to chime in, you can turn this on. You can set a guest password. You would just make sure to share that password in the email or with your students if you wanted their parents to join in. For the essentials, if you do topic moderation, it means that you get to see every video before they're made public. So you can actually go in and say, yes, my class can see this one. Oh no, let's just leave that one hidden. That's not appropriate. Okay, so if you would like to check before the rest of your class can see what's going on, you would click topic moderation. If you don't need it, you can just leave that blank. How long do you want this recording to be? Oh, wow, they changed it. So it goes down even to 15 seconds. So super, super, super short, all the way up to 10 minutes. Well, that's a little lengthy, but if you're doing projects, it might be helpful. How do you want people to be able to comment on those videos? Video and text, just one of those, or not at all? And then do you want there to be closed captioning? And if so, what language do you want it to be in? Okay. If you know you're going to use those settings over and over again, you can make that to be your default, so you don't have to go through and do that every time. And then when you are ready, create topic. So this is one of the beauties of Flipgrid. While I did not set it up to go with my classroom, because I'm logged in under my Google account, if I click on Google Classroom, let's see if this works. Because this is not Jesse's Google account, this is our sample ILE teacher. Let's see. Perfect, there are. So it's gonna pull up all of your Google Classrooms. I'm just gonna pick sample. How do you want it to be assigned? Assignment, question, announcement, or material. And then go. Notice I've never left Flipgrid. This is still right here in that same window, that same website. What am I gonna call it? What's the description? What class is it for? So if I messed up the first time, it'll let me fix it this time around. Who do I want to see it? Is there a topic it's under? And then post. Because this isn't my account, I'm not going to post it, but you can do that all from right here. So you never have to leave. And then when you're all done, you close out and you have your new topic. Notice it says there are 0 responses. This is where they would show up when you start getting them. You can actually record a response. So if you want to give your students a sample, you can do that here. If you didn't share through Classroom previously, you can share here, and it brings up that same option. So if you close this out before you send it to your kids, no worries, it's super easy to get back to. Okay, let me check, make sure I hit everything I wanted to hit with you guys. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so the next thing is leaving feedback, and then we have time for questions right after that. So I'm actually gonna come back into my personal account. I'm gonna look at my PD sample group, and I have two topics. The pre-built Flipgrid Hello I Am, which is the one I did my sample response for, and then one I'm gonna have you guys do, that's how might you use Flipgrid. So as the teacher, if I click on this Hello I Am, notice it says there's been one response. So I can see that Jessie did a video on April 6th, and there's one comment on her video. So I can open this one. And you all can go watch this later if you'd like to see it, but that's not what we're here for. We're here for feedback. Okay, so you can record a private video for your students. So if you want to have that sort of live interaction, face-to-face, you can record videos back and forth. If you want to leave a text comment for Jessie, you can here. And notice this is private. This is private. There is one, if you do add a public comment, that'll be viewable to everybody. So if you wanted to call out something for the whole class to see, you would add it here. You can change that also to private if you don't want it to be for everybody. Okay, so there's a couple different ways to leave feedback. There's the details page or the feedback page, and that gives you video or text. And I think with that, it's another question section. So anything you guys want to know, things I need to go back and show again?
Jessie, do you know of anybody using this for teacher collaboration or PLC?
That I do not. So you mean a peer group of teachers that are using this to kind of talk back and forth?
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm aware of. Dr. Chan, have you heard of that at all?
I've seen it and actually done it with a teacher PLC. I think it was last year, maybe with Monroe. I know Tasia did this with all of us. So it was like our welcome back to school meeting, and we all did a Flipgrid recording. So it was a way to give us exposure to the tool, but also just to connect with each other.
That's super cool.
Thank you.
Okay, so if there are no more questions, we will jump into the student experience. So what you're going to want to do is join the PD sample classroom. And Dr. Chan just put the link in chat. That should take you directly to the classroom. If you'd rather go to classroom.google.com, the join code is 7HJYOOG. When you get there, you should see two assignments under Flipgrid 101. One says say hello, and one is how might you use Flipgrid. For now, I'm just going to have you do the say hello. And that's the kind of basic pre-built Flipgrid activity, just so you kind of get a feel for how it works and what it looks like. And by all means, play around. There are filters you can do and selfies you can take and stickers you can add, and it gets to be super fun. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to go say hello. So we'll take a couple more minutes here and then we'll move on in just a few minutes.
Hey, Harold, mute yourself.
Okay, so I'll show you two more things and then you'll have time to work on that second one. So a couple resources that I found from colleagues, they actually would give their students scaffolds, I guess you would call them. So a couple examples. One was this graphic organizer. So on the left were the highlights of the prompt. So this one was all about coming back from summer and, you know, let's talk as a class, what were some good things, what were some bad things. And then over here on the right was a place for the kids to jot notes. So as they were recording their video, they could actually look at something that they hand wrote. You could collect this or not, it's totally up to you. And then they had some kind of clarifying pieces. Peak is a good part, pit is a bad part. And then knowing your students, you could add in sentence frames, word banks, you know, that way it builds in some academic language. But this is one way to kind of help students organize their thoughts. And then another one, this was for really, really young students, so it might not be as applicable, but it was very tailored. So this is all about Abraham Lincoln. Hi, my name is blank. I'm going to tell you about Abraham Lincoln. He was the blank president. One fact about him is, and the kids had to fill in whatever they wanted, and the rest was very, very scripted. So you're still getting to hear what the kids have to say, but it takes some of that I guess additional thinking, how to say it. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to start my sentence. It kind of takes that pressure away and you get to hear just what the kids want to think or get just what the kids were thinking. So just another option in case you know, like it and want to use it. So I saw a few people worked on this one previously. As you guys go in and you work on your videos, I would like you to check out the different things that students can do, teachers can do when they customize videos. So if I come in here and let's see, if I go in, I don't need to hear myself. Let's see if this will let me. Yes, it will. So when I go to record myself, notice you have a lot of effects in here. I highly encourage you to check these out. So not only are there filters, you know, makes it look kind of funky, there are some really useful pieces like whiteboards. Okay, so if you watched my video, you saw that I did a whiteboard. well, I think I did a picture, but then I did ink. So then I took my pen and I was able to draw on the screen and kind of highlight what I was talking about, show you this is what I'm referring to. So I highly encourage you to take a look at the effects as you record this second video. With that, take a few minutes, oops, wrong one, and go ahead and try this. How might you use Flipgrid? Okay, so that's been about 3 minutes, but I wanted to ask you guys, would you like some more time? So we have about another 5, maybe 10 minutes built in if you would like to explore some more or build your own topics. If I could just get a thumbs up or unmute and let me know, that way I honor what you guys want instead of, making you do something that is not going to help you guys. Yeah, keep going, Nick. More practice time. Okay, anyone else? Wes, more practice time. Okay, and I was watching, so I was able to watch, I think 4 or 5. Chef Levitt, I saw you had a question about participation rates. I don't have hard data from Flipgrid that I know of, but if you'd like, I can look into it and see across the district if I'm able to pull some data and see how often students are responding. Would that answer your question? Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'll look into it and I'll get back to you. Okay, so we'll take about 5 more minutes and we'll come back together to wrap up our PD.
So Jesse, the way that it's set up right now, the only person that can see the responses is the teacher. Like other students wouldn't be able to see the responses.
Let me check and see how I set this one up.
I think these are public because we can. I've been
Yeah, it
watching
should be
all
public.
the videos.
Yeah, I was able to go in and watch. I think everybody's.
Yeah, I should be open. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes, so I'm going to pull you guys back if you don't mind. And I just wanted to show you a couple things from the teacher side. So I imagine you guys can see this as well since it's all public, but just in case, notice the pictures that have green circles around them are new to me. I have not viewed those yet. So if you're not sure where you left off in grading your students, you can see those little green circles. And then you can also see here that people left comments for Nick and for Donna. someone watched Nick's video 7 times, 8 times, 6, 2, 2, 0, 0, 0. So those are probably the newest done, as there's no views yet. If you find after you watch a student's video, it's not appropriate and it should not be up, you can hide that. So it doesn't delete it, it doesn't get rid of it. I didn't go away. But now as you go in as the student, you shouldn't be able to see Donna's video anymore. I can still see it. I have access to it, but if it's hidden, it should not be viewable by students. And since you're already in Flipgrid, it might have to be when you refresh it, it won't be there. But that's something that you can do after the fact as well. Even though I didn't say I want topic moderation, you do have that power to go in and hide stuff if you feel it's necessary. And then if you need to rearrange for whatever reason, if you want to hide it, if you want to delete the response, if you want to, duplicate, change, you have all those options as well. Okay, so any questions before we move on and kind of wrap up the PD for today?
Jesse, you do have a question in the chat from Harold.
Sure.
He was just wondering if his responses are typical. I don't know if you had a chance to view his video.
Yeah, so I asked Harwood to look into it. He said he would contact Flipgrid and see if we could get district-wide data. So Harold, I'll get back to you as soon as I hear from him, okay? All right, so when we're looking at Flipgrid, we do have 2 models that we use in the district. One is SAMR and one is Tpack. So SAMR is looking at technology in the classroom. S is kind of basic substitution, so there's not really a change. A is augmentation. There's a little bit of functional improvement. M for modification, so that is significant task redesign. And R for redefinition. That's you have the ability to now do a task that was previously inconceivable. It was not possible before, you didn't really even think about it. So I'm just kind of curious where you guys feel Flipgrid lands. So I've just launched a poll. That's where do you think using Flipgrid falls within the SAMR model? So there's SAMR or all of the above, in case you think it's, actually, let's say all of the above / maybe more than one. I'm curious if you're willing, would someone who said modification or redefinition be willing to share why you think that? All the above, yeah.
I put modification because I think it allows the communication between the teacher and the student, or even in a kind of a group setting, to communicate with each other without being face to face.
Yeah.
It could go to redefinition, but I wasn't really thinking along that line.
That's fair. Whoever put redefinition, if you're feeling brave, would you mind telling us why you put that instead of modification?
Yeah, that was me, Chef Lovett. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah, I just felt that there's a lot of things that with this technology and a lot of things out there that you just couldn't do in a normal case, and this definitely was that kind of fall under that category, because I was able to really, having used it, especially at the beginning of the year, I was able to do a lot of things that I've never done before. So allows, I think, a way for the students to kind of, like they were, like for me, they were doing cooking at home, and there was really no other way for them to showcase that. So that technology really created something new for my classroom that I couldn't have done any other way. So I mean, definitely, like we use Google Classroom, they can post it in there, but this was a lot different. This allowed it for all students to be able to look at it and see the creativity from a different aspect. So it was a great way to share, and then people could look at it on their own time or their own pace, as opposed to have it in the classroom or whatever. So I think it's great. That's why I picked redefinition. It's something new.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you. And I know in Dr. Chan's session on Thursday, you're going to hit on a few more pieces that I think really nail it in as redefinition that are previously inconceivable. So think pen pals, but with Flipgrid. right? Never could have happened before technology. Okay, and then the other model is called Tpack. So the really quick version of Tpack is looking at technology, content, and pedagogy, and how those three pieces interact. And we're not necessarily talking technology like the device I'm talking to you guys on. It could be something as simple as like this, or this, or this, right? So just looking at how those three pieces combine. And I'm curious, sorry, this one's a little long, where you think Flipgrid falls kind of in this model. So is it just technology? Is it technology and content? Is it content and pedagogy? And you'll notice I put a lot of options in here, and I tried to put the color. So if you're a visual person, you can say, oh, it lands right there. Okay, purple, let me go find where purple is. So I'm just kind of curious what you guys are thinking for Tpack. So far, a couple people think brown section, so like where everything kind of has interacted. Technology and pedagogy, kind of that orangish color. A couple people there. Yeah, I agree. That's where I would have put it, is one of those two sections. I think both are equally, correct, but I agree. It's definitely a combination. It's not just one of those three pieces. So hopefully you feel that it's a good, useful tool. And then just to kind of recap, well, I guess I didn't put it in here. Our objectives for the day were to learn how to use Flipgrid, and then to see how it would help become more of a student-centered approach instead of a teacher-centered approach. If you've done PD with us recently, I believe as of March 8th, everything was starting to go through KickUp. So you can access KickUp by going to pulse.kickup.co. That gray button should work. If you want to click there, it'll take you right out. And then the attendance code for today is U2SQNR. That's how you're going to show that you were here today. And then after you confirm your attendance, there is a section for feedback. I left, what did I leave? About 7 minutes if you want to go ahead and start. Usually it takes around 5 to 10 minutes. If you have the time now, we'd greatly appreciate your feedback, as we're always looking to improve. If not, KickUp will send you a couple email reminders in case you don't have time to do it today. And then if you finish early, slides 49, 50, 51, and 52, I'll have some additional resources if you're interested in digging a tiny bit deeper. Harold, I'm not quite sure how to get you logged in. I will have to ask Crystal. She's kind of our kick-up specialist in-house.
Is our screen name our district email?
Your screen name, you said? Fernando, are you talking about
Yes.
for kick-up?
Yeah, for kick-up, yes.
Yeah, it should be login with Google, I think. Let me see. I'll get out and I'll go. Okay, so when you go to pulse.kickup.co, do you see this red login with Google button?
Okay, so we log in. Once we select that link, we use our district email in the code that's posted.
So you'll use the red login with Google button,
Yes.
and then when you get in, you can click right here, confirm attendance, that green button. And then from there, yeah, it's that code, which was U2SQNR. And then Chef Levitt, did you see Sharice's response in chat? Okay, thank you. All right, so it's 4 o'clock. If you guys are all finished, thank you so much for attending. Again, there are some additional resources if you want to check out the Discovery Library. Here's a preview so you can pull pre-made lessons. Or there's a whole bunch of resources down here on slide 52. With that, thank you. We'll be here for a few minutes if you guys have any questions or want to stick around. Otherwise, thank you and have a great afternoon.
Thank you, Jesse.
You are welcome.
Thank you, Sharisa.
Thank you both. Thank you both. It's good.
You're very welcome. Thank you for
Thank
attending.
you.
Bye, everyone.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Donna, did you leave?
Yeah, she left.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Buenas tardes, everybody.
Buenas
Thank you.
tardes.
Have a good evening.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, can you stop the recording for me if you don't mind?
Thank you for reminding
Thank
me.
you.
My headphones died. FYI.